guys, today we're going to be doing 12.2 from our math book, which is fractions and decimals on the number line. You're going to need page 449 and 451 from your big book and page 153 from your skinny book. So go ahead and pause the video, make sure you have all your materials before we get started. Okay, let's take a look at the solve and share. Name the fractions and or decimals of each lettered point on the number lines. Tell how you decided. Okay, so let's take a close look at these number lines and see what we notice. Well, something I notice is that our first number line is between 0 and 1. Then when I look at the second one, I notice that D is actually between 0 and 1. And then E and F are actually between 1 and 2. And then G and H on our third one is between 3 and 4. And I is between 4 and 5. So we know we're going to be working with some mixed numbers here. Now, let's also look. Remember what I said? Whenever we were looking at number lines, we always count the spaces and not the lines to decide what it is broken into, what my denominator is going to be. So let's look at the first one and let's see. We're going to count our spaces between our whole numbers. So we're going to count between 0 and 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is broken into 10 pieces. So what does that mean your denominator is going to be for each one of those lines? Yes, 10. So let's go ahead and fill out our fractions for this number line. Okay, pause the video and see if you can fill out the fractions just for the first number line. Okay, so if this was tenths, it would have been 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10. Now, what do we know about our denominator of 10 tenths in fractions and decimals? Yeah, we know that we can easily convert our fractions of tenths into decimals. So let's try and on the top of our number line, write the decimals. Okay, so let's do it for our lettered points. So this would be 1/10. This is 5/10 and 7/10. Okay. Okay, let's look at our next number line. Now, I don't know what it's broken into if I'm looking at this front piece because I can't see the beginning. They only gave us a partial piece of this line. So I need to look at the part that I do know. I know that I have the entire part from 1 to 2. So I'm going to count my spaces. Yes, I'm going to count my spaces and see what my denominator is going to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So our denominator again is 10. That means my denominator is also going to be 10 for these pieces because a number line is consistent throughout. All right, so what you're going to do right now is you're going to pause the video and I want you to write the fractions and decimals for the lettered points. You don't have to do the whole thing. You could just write the fraction and decimals for the lettered points. Remember, but E and F are between 1 and 2, so it's going to be a mixed number. Okay, let's check and see what you put for points D, E, and F. So when I looked at D, I couldn't count forward like I normally do, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, and see where D was because I don't have the beginning. So what I had to do is I had to count backwards. So I know this one would have been 9/10. This would have been 8/10. So D is 7/10. 7/10. Okay, now going forward to the other part of my number line, I needed to look at point E and point F. And they are between 1 and 2. So I know that these were going to be a mixed number. Like this first point is 1 and 1/10, 1 and 2/10, 1 and 3/10, 1 and 4/10, 1 and 5/10, 1 and 6/10, 1 and 7/10, 1 and 8/10, 1 and 9/10. So those are my fractions. 1 and 2/10 as a decimal, you should have wrote 1 and 2/10. 1 and 9/10 as a decimal, 1 and 9/10. Give yourself a nice thumbs up if you got those right. Okay, let's take a look at the last number line. Okay, first step is let's see what our number line is broken into. So between 3 and 4, it's broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. Between 4 and 5, it's broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. So again, we're dealing with tenths here. All right, so now what I want you to do is I want you to write the mixed number for G, H, and I. You're going to write the mixed number and the fraction, the mixed number and the decimal, sorry. All right, go ahead, pause the video and try it out. All right, let's check and see how you did. For letter G, you should have said 3 and 2/10, which is the same as 3 and 2/10. For H, 3, 4, 5, 6/10, so 3 and 6/10, 3 and 6/10. All right, good job. Now, when we're looking at the next piece, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4/10. 4 and 4/10. Now, just as a little question here, who thinks they know if I was talking about hundredths now? If I wanted to also write the equivalent fraction for hundredths and the equivalent decimal for hundredths, do you know what you would put for 3 and 2/10? If I wanted to change 3 and 2/10 into hundredths. Remember, yesterday's lesson, we were comparing tenths and hundredths and saying how they were equivalent. So how many people said 3 and 20 hundredths would be the same? That is correct, 3 and 20 hundredths. What about 3 and 6/10? What would I write for hundredths? Yeah, 3 and 60 hundredths. 3 and 60 hundredths. What about 4 and 4/10? What would you put? Yeah, 4 and 40 hundredths. 4 and 40 hundredths. All right, good job. Okay, so we just talked about how we can convert tenths to hundredths on that other number line. So let's keep that in mind right now. Look at this number line. I have 3 and 7/10 and 3 and 8/10. What's between 3 and 7/10 and 3 and 8/10? Well, you're probably like, nothing, because 7/10, 8/10, they're right next to each other. There's nothing in between. But let's think about that in another way. What is 3 and 7/10 written as hundredths? If I convert that into hundredths, 3 and 70 hundredths. What about 3 and 8/10? How can I convert that into hundredths? Yeah, 3 and 8 hundredths. So now, 3 and 80 hundredths. Is there anything in between 3 and 70 hundredths and 3 and 80 hundredths? I bet you're all saying, oh, yeah, there is. Yeah, because I have lots of numbers between 3 and 70 hundredths and 3 and 80 hundredths. What would come next? 3 and 71 hundredths, 3 and 72 hundredths, 3 and 73 hundredths, 3 and 74 hundredths, 3 and 75 hundredths, 3 and 76 hundredths, 3 and 77 hundredths, 3 and 78 hundredths, and 3 and 79 hundredths are all in between 3 and 70 hundredths and 3 and 80 hundredths. Okay, let's look at page 451 under guided practice, okay? Do you understand? Locate 45 hundredths on the number line. So we're looking, we see 40 hundredths and we see 50 hundredths. So where would 45 hundredths be? Put a little dot where you think it would go. All right, well, let's see if you got it right. Let's see if you put your dot in the right place. 40, 41, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So you should have put your dot right here at 45 hundredths. So I'm going to label it 45 hundredths. All right, if you got it, good job. Number 2 says, draw a number line to represent both the decimal and fraction for 8 tenths. So that's what they want you to do. They want you to draw a number line. Okay, when breaking a number line into tenths, you're going to have your two ends. You're going to break it in half, okay? Best you can. And then on each side, you're going to make 4 lines. So you're going to try to eye it out and put the 4 lines so they have the same amount of space. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's very hard to draw a number line split into 10 pieces. All right, so now you have your number line and it's 8 tenths. It's not a mixed number. They didn't say 7 and 8 tenths. So I know that means it's 0 to 1. And now I need to find and label where 8 tenths would go. So pause the video, make your number line, and show where 8 tenths would go. Okay, 8 tenths would be right here. And I wrote the fraction and decimal because that's what the direction said to do. Okay, for 3 through 6, name the decimal and fraction for each point. Again, remember, that's why it's important to read directions because we have to write the decimal and fraction for each point. Okay, so number 3, E. We find E up here and we say what fraction and decimal is represented by E. Well, it's 6 tenths. 6 tenths. And I know that because I looked at 5 tenths and it was right next to it. So I know that was going to be 6 tenths. Okay, let's find letter H. Now I see this is 1 and 5 tenths. So what is the one right before it going to be? 1 and 4 tenths. 1 and 4 tenths. Okay, let's find letter F. All right, I have 1 and 30 hundredths. So what do you think letter F is going to be? Yes, 1 and 33 hundredths. 1 and 33 hundredths. And last one, letter G is right here. What are you going to put for letter G? 1 and 39 hundredths. Good job. For your independent classwork today, you're going to do 7 through 16, and that's it. So let's just look it over so you know what to do. For 7 and 8, you're going to label the number lines with the given fractions and decimals. I'm going to help you break that up. And then for 9 through 16, you're going to name the decimal and fraction for each point. Just like we did for 3, 4, 5, and 6 up here, you're going to do the same thing for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay? Now, for up here, numbers 7 and 8, you need to split them up and label them. Okay, so I'm going to help you split these up. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to actually count how many numbers I need to plot on this number line. And I don't have to do an entire number line. I'm just going to kind of do a piece of the number line. So I have to do 3 and 800ths, 3 and 900ths, 3 and 1000ths, 3 and 1100ths, 3 and 1200ths, and 3 and 1300ths. So that is 6 different numbers I need to plot. So I need to make sure I have 6 lines on my number line. So again, I'm going to do my best to just draw 6 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, they don't have to be perfect. It is very hard to draw them and make them perfectly spread apart. All right, so the first on our number line is going to be 3 and 800ths. And then you're also going to do 3 and 800ths, okay? You're going to continue and finish the rest of the number line through 3 and 1300ths. Let's look at number 8. So I need to do from 4/10 to a whole. So let's see how many numbers I need to plot. 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and 10/10 would be a whole. So that is 7 spots. I need to do 7 lines on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. And again, you are going to label them 4/10 and 4/10. And you're going to label them all the way through one whole. Okay? And now on the bottom, for 9 through 16, again, remember you're doing the same thing that you did for 3 through 6. Okay, so pause the video, do 9 through 16, and then you could check back for the answers. All right, look here at the bottom of the page for 9 through 16's answers. Please go ahead and check your answers and let me know if you have any questions, if you don't understand why you got something wrong. So pause the video and check your answers. Okay, for your homework, you're going to do page 153 in the Skinny book, and you have to do numbers 1 through 10, which is very similar to what we just did, labeling points on a number line. Okay, so just do 1 through 10. It's only the front. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.